Alright, Diablo 4 Rogues, we can now spin to win with a brand new build called Dance of Knives. This is the build that you guys have been wanting, and so here is a beta version of the build. And I say beta because keep in mind, it is PTR right now, things are subject to change, but it's basically a spinning whirlwind rogue. You kind of just activate your buffs and you just go, and it is awesome because whatever buffs you have, as long as you don't let go of the Dance of Knives skills, all of your imbuements will be infinite. It is absolutely crazy that it works in this state. Fingers crossed that this does not get nerfed in Season 6. But there are a few things that I got to go over really quick at the start of the video because I cannot throw everything in here, and I've written some notes because it does not have some of the newer things, like some of the tempers it doesn't show in the planner, so I'm going to go ahead and mention these right now. So for starters, one of the tempers that you want to get is the chance of Dance of Knives projectiles to cast twice. It's just not in the MOBA planner yet, but that's what you want to actually get. The next thing that is important is the actual skill on the skill tree. It's not in the planner as well, but what you want to try to get is the Disciplined Dance of Knives. This will make Dance of Knives apply a crowd control, it will slow the enemies, and has a 20% chance to pierce. This is what you actually want to get on the tree. Again, it just doesn't show it in the planner. And then there's one aspect that you want to get. You can see it says Band of Star Shards, and how it works is the knives from Dance of Knives have a chance to shatter into 6 shards of metal on hit, which deals some sort of amount of damage. That will work with your imbue, which will apply the damage, but we're really here for the poison imbuement, and that will convert to poison. And the main thing that we actually want from this is just more projectiles to come around. That's what we're using this for. So now that we have some of the things out of the way, and then the last thing over here, it says on our boots, the ranks to caltrops, you actually want ranks to specifically Dance of Knives. It's just not updated here in the builder. So now that we got that out of the way, let's go over the skills and how the build plays. Keep in mind, what I'm showing you guys is subject to change. I still need to min-max this build a lot more. And keep in mind that PTR, the pits are actually going to be different. You're not going to go doing like 150s. I believe the highest tier in the pit is supposed to be 100 now, as far as I'm aware of. But things are subject to change. It's PTR. So for starters, as our skills go, we want poison and imbuement. You can see my glyphs are literally half the level. The new max level is 100 for the glyphs, so we could still get a lot more power with this build. So for starters, poison imbuement is going to activate one of the legendary nodes on the Paragon board. And then I have Shadow Clone in here, but in the game, what it actually is Dance of Knives. It's not in the skill tree in the Mobalytics website as of right now. But if it gets updated, I'll update this. But yeah, we don't actually play Shadow Clone here. Next up, we got Poison Trap. This will give us another multiplier, plus there is a legendary node on the Paragon board that has been broken for a really long time, and it just works with all damage, as far as I'm aware of. If that does get updated, this still gives us good value, but there is a bug currently that has been giving the Poison Trap, well, it's more so if the enemy is affected by a trap, it just works. And this still will work, even if that gets nerfed, we will update it. But next skills are going to be optional here. These last 3, I like Dark Shroud, even though we have the activation of the shrouds to be like something that we can apply for free because of the Umbrus aspect. I like it in the very beginning just so you can get max Dark Shrouds immediately, which give you damage as well as can give you extra mobility. So I like it for that. But specifically, you can run Concealment if you want to break crowd control. You can also run the Smoke Grenade for even more damage, but I like the smooth playstyle of the way it works by just holding it down. So I didn't really want to add too many gimmicks here. Honestly, you can just drop Poison Trap if you want to have an even smoother playstyle. And then Shadow Step, I really recommend running this just because you can break crowd controls, and then Dash just to kind of fulfill the gaps that, you know, there's no monsters, you're going from point A to point B. A lot of times when you enter a portal, there's like nothing for a couple seconds, so you just dash 2 times, and then you're right back into combat. And then the specialization does not matter for this build. And then as far as the gear goes, this is an Undariel's build, but this one is the one time where I can say you can run this build even without Undariel's. You would then want to put points into the Dance of Knives, but basically you can just keep up Poison Imbuement the whole time, and that is another way to play. And then you don't necessarily need Lucky Hit, but it can't be bad because you would just get more chances for the Poison Imbuement to come off of cooldown. So it's okay for that reason over there as well. And then we're running Teros to solve all resistances problems. It's just the thing that in Season 6, a lot of builds will just require this. It's just really easy. Then Fist of Fate because it's an Undariel's build, and then we are going to be running the Umbrus over here. It's just kind of standard in every single rogue build. And then we run Noxious Ice because it is a poison build, and then we're running Accelerating here for Cap 2. Remember, don't get Penetrating Shot. You want Dance of Knives. This is a Dance of Knives build. It's just here because again we can't fulfill anything else as far as the planner goes. Then we want the aspect of Creeping Death because it is a damage over time build. And then the most important thing, by the way, is to get ranks to alchemic advantage. This is good because you can get to 200% attack speed in this build. And then we go running aspect of elements over here. It's just going to give us more damage. And then we want damage per dark shroud. And then agility cooldown can kind of help out, but you don't use resources, so it doesn't really matter for like resource cost reduction or anything like that. And then we don't want trick shot. Remember, we want this one, the star shards. That's what you want. But again, it's not in the game, so just mentioning that. But you do want, on one of your rings, or even two, it's not bad, you do want a chance to make enemies vulnerable. Even though we take exploit in the Paragon board, we do still want this for specifically the bosses. And then we're running intercom or anything here. If you want to get more attack speed and you're not at like a really good amount, like if you're missing attack speed, like let's say your Fist of Fate roll garbage, you don't get any attack speed here, and then let's say you don't get the masterwork on Andariel's, and then you don't get another attack speed on a ring. You could run Ashira's instead of Intercom. You will get some extra damage, but you will also lose out on like that nice maximum life that you can have, and the damage over time, and then the damage per Dark Shroud, and the chance for the Dance of Knives to actually cast twice. But it's up to you on what you want to take. I really like Doombringer. I put this on almost every single one of my builds. If you want to get like some masterworking on life or damage reduction, that's fine. But there really isn't anything bad to hit, really, except for maybe like lucky hit chance. There's really not a specific masterwork that you need for this. And then as far as the gem goes, we are going to be doing damage over time. So we want amethysts and then emeralds because it's dexterity. When the runes come out, we will update this. But literally every 5 minutes while I was playing this on stream, I was like, dude, drop the build, drop the build. I'm like, okay, you know what? We can make a build guide for it. And I told you guys I'd deliver. So here's the delivery. And then we want skulls because we need to fulfill the armor cap for the game. Remember, the new armor cap is 1,000. But make sure you select World Tier 4 and then, or it's now Torment 4. But make sure you check and make sure that you're in the highest world tier before you look at your resistances and your armor. Otherwise, you'd be on the lower one and you'd be like, okay, well, how am I still getting melted? So make sure that you armor cap and res cap yourself. The res cap hasn't changed, but again, armor cap is the thing that you want to hit. Next up, as far as the skill trees. So let me go ahead and make this bigger so you guys can watch it, just in case you're watching on mobile. So the first skill points do not matter. Next up, we're getting sturdy, so damage reduction, and we want to move as fast as possible. The more we move, how the skill works, let me actually explain this. This is kind of important. So how the skill works is you don't use any resources. It has these charges. And if you hold it down, it will use charges as you use the skill. But if you move a certain distance, you're going to gain 4 charge. So basically, it is infinite as long as you are moving. On the bosses, make big circles. Don't make tiny ones. If you make tiny ones, it's going to be like, well, you're not moving, so you're going to run out of your charges. So that is very important to mention. So this just helps out. We don't really go for crit in this build. We had to have some natural crit, but it is also used for Umbris, but it will also give us extra movement speed, which is quite nice. Then we're running Discipline Shadow Step. Again, you don't want to actually run Caltrops. You want to run Dance of Knives. It's just that this is normally where it would be, where my mouse is, but it's not in the builder. If you want to, you can put some more points in this. This doesn't really matter too much. I just like 1 point in Dash. You can put 1 point in Agile. You can max out Dark Shroud, and then you want this or this. It doesn't really matter. And then this is where I was saying the Poison Trap gives you some extra damage. Exploit Malice, which is in every single rogue build. Then every single rogue build runs Frigid Finesse. And then we're running Mixed Poison Imbuement. You don't really need to put the points in. You just need 1 point into Poison Imbuement if you want to. But the thing that is kind of nice is having Poison Imbuement always active, just in case you mess up, or like, the only thing that stops this build from like feeling really smooth and good is when there's a door, because you can't just like spin and open up the door. This is a thing that I'm gonna, hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get this request from Blizzard and have them not require doors in the Nightmare dungeons. It's just something that slows you down. And then so in this build, we don't spend any resource and we don't need any resources, but non-physical damage has increased lucky hit chance. And the base of lucky hit of Poison Imbuement is 33, and that does apply to your actual skill versus this, I believe, is well, I can't show you. It's the actual skill, the Dance of Knives. This, I believe, is coded for 20% right now. So obviously 33 is almost like, 50% more of 20. It's more than that. It's good. So that's why we take extra lucky hit chance, because, well, it's going to be non-physical damage. And then we have some points in here. If you want to put more points into haste, that's totally fine. You can remove the point out of agile, but do whatever you want. It really doesn't matter here. And then we get to run momentum, which is awesome, because this is 100% the best key passive in the game. You get 30% damage reduction, 30% maximum energy, which max energy and energy regen doesn't do anything for this build. You get 30% movement speed and then a 50x damage. I mean, what build gets 50x damage, 30% movement speed, and 30% damage reduction? I'll tell you none. It's amazing. But we also get more skill points. Now, where can you fulfill these skill points? Well, you can put points into this one, Haste, over here. You can also fill out Agile. Keep in mind, we don't have the update here yet, but put it into wherever you want. It really doesn't matter. I pretty much maxed all the things that were good. If you want to get the extra dash, I could see that. You can also run unstable elixirs. It's kind of up to you. Again, I just can't put in more skill points because it limits you. We don't have the update yet, but it will be out soon, hopefully. And then we also have the Paragon board. So the new change with the Paragon board, guys, is we are only allowed to get 4 additional boards. So it's a total of 5. That's why every single Paragon board is going to look kind of weird in Season 6. So let's get started with this. So in the first board, I actually really like Exploit. Makes things much snappier. We're also missing 100 Paragon points. Again, it's not in the planner yet, but we will update it once the time comes out. That's why I'm saying this is like a beta version of the build. So yeah, Sorter board, Exploit, and then we're going to move into Tracker. We're going to get all of these extra elite damage and even more movement speed. You're probably going to get over 100% movement speed with this. But just in case your boots were really bad, maybe you can actually play with 0 movement speed on your boots. So over here we get all this extra damage reduction, and then so that first one is Exploit, and then we get to Tracker for the poison. And then Cheap Shot, Devious, really great board over here, extra elite stuff, damage reduction. And then we move into Eldritch Bounty Canny, and we are going to be taking Eldritch Bounty. That's why we play Poison Imbuing. So our damage will all come from Andariels. If you really want to, you can put 5 points into specifically the Dance of Knives. It gives you about like 10% of your total damage here. It's not like bad if you want to put 5 points into it, because remember, you have 10 extra skill points. It's not bad for like, if you're doing like open world and easy content, I mean, it does enough damage to kill things. And then, like I said, as far as I'm aware of, this has not been nerfed, so it still works. We don't do crit damage in this build. This is a damage over time build, but this technically works. And then we can get this extra damage reduction over here from the trapped enemy. So Deadly Ambush Bane for the 5th one. It's actually much easier to do build guides now because the Paragon board doesn't extend to like 7 boards, which is normal for, you know, most good boards will have like 7 boards. But now everything's going to be 5. But that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for the beta variant of this build. But there is another really cool version. Heck, we can make a shadow version too. This build is like so good for so many different things. And the reason why it's like going to be actually one of the top tier builds, as long as we don't get this nerf, guys, it's going to be crazy. And the reason why is you can activate your Poison, Shadow, Cold Imbuement 1 time, and it is going to be there forever. So all these bonuses can also be snapshot, which is really busted. And the reason why I'm going to be honest, I think it probably will get nerfed, but I'm not saying that it should be nerfed. I'm saying I should stay the same because it's a new skill. Make it OP. I mean, at the end of the day, let's be honest, we're all going to be rolling Spiritborn as soon as the season comes out. But if this stays in, I'm 100% making this for my second build. So there's some things that you can mess around with where, like, when you use Concealment, the skill that breaks it is always going to be a guaranteed crit, or you can make it so it always makes enemies vulnerable. So you could drop all your vulnerable, and you could just have 100% vulnerability or 100% crit, which is really busted, to be honest. So this skill snapshots everything. So anything that says your next skill does XYZ, you get it the whole time. Is it busted? Yeah, absolutely. Should it work that way? Well, you know, I'm be honest, I always like, it's a PvE game. So like, I always want us to be as most broken and overpowered as possible, as long as it doesn't crash the people's game like Ball Lightning in Season 2. That's the only time that I really would ever say, Blizzard, you may want to nerf it because, you know, it's causing the game servers to literally lag to the point where you lag out or your items don't drop. That's the only time I ever really say things should be nerfed. Now, should this be nerfed? No, absolutely not. In my perspective, just let Rogue be awesome with this new skill. Let the new skill be the S tier super busted thing, but who knows? We'll wait and see what comes out of it. But because you can snapshot so many things, and there's like a new mythic, a unique, where it's like the skill that breaks stealth gets like 3 to, I don't know, it's like 700% damage. Yeah, it's going to go crazy. So this is definitely, in my personal opinion, it doesn't really matter which version that you play. If you're running Poison, Cold, they're all going to be incredibly busted. But basically, you can snapshot anything with this build. Again, you have infinite imbues. And like, if you run the Cold version of this, you just get permanently, you know, obviously any bonuses when like when you're hitting a frozen target or something, you get all the bonuses with Frigid Finesse. But like with mixed Cold Imbuement over here, you get like 40x damage with this, and that's up the whole entire time. Because again, you get infinite Poison Imbue or Cold Imbue. And even with Shadow, like the speed at which you can do this, if you're like using this to level, oh my gosh, you could go crazy with this, because this also gives you another 12% multiplier. And what I think is even cooler, which goes even further, I know we're not talking about like other theory crafting things that you can do. There's a lot of these like mixed imbuements where you have like, if an enemy is affected by like, let's say like a damage over time, or like if they're affected by like poison, you do shadow or like freeze, and like there's all these other things that like work well with these mixed imbuements. And there is also this other node, which I probably would never take, but oh, it's not even in this one. There's another node where like you get like bonus imbued damage. You don't really need that one unless you're not playing Andaros. If you're playing Andaros, then you don't need it. Here's like I'll just kind of mess around with the Paragon board. Run the one that's in the planner though, because the other one I didn't have everything perfected yet. But anyways, that's gonna wrap it up. Have some fun, guys, with this new build, and like I said, I fully expect this to get nerfed, but I'm not going to suggest it as a nerf because it's really fun. It's the most fun that I had with Rogue in a long time, with a new skill that's like actually good. Because so many times, like when we got the announcement of Eagle Horn was getting a rework, I was excited because that's like one of my favorite things. And dude, it just was terrible. So fingers crossed that it just stays super, super powerful, and it's going to be the top tier Rogue build, 100%. I don't know which one is going to be the top tier one. Andariel's has been really powerful for the Rogue for a long time, so it may be Andariel's again. It may be Cold Imbue. I think those are the top two that I would look at, but I'm gonna be dropping the cold one and the shadow one very, very soon. But anyways, that's gonna wrap up things. If you guys enjoyed it, if you did, drop a like. If you're new here, hit subscribe, turn that bell, because we're gonna be dropping the cold one very soon. I'm gonna be running that one, and hopefully we're gonna get that update very soon to get like all the glyphs 100, and I can just keep on crafting infinite of the rune words and mythic uniques. I think this is the build to look out for probably in season 6. So far, this is the top tier Rogue build, whether it's poison or cold, we'll see. Anyways, take care. I'll see you guys in the next one, and check the pin. I'll have everything linked, but make sure you guys read the notes. Remember, this is a dance of knives, not like Caltrops.